with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to a special edition of Diecast Breakdown Live. I am joined by my usual co-host, Mr. David Johns, and I am joined by special guest co-hosts filling in for Mr. Mark McHotwheel, Derek of Honest Diecast, and Rob of Scale Enthusiasm.
Hey, everybody.
What's up?
All righty. Well, gentlemen, we have got the Suhweet 16 in honor of our guest Derek today. Then we'll be counting down the best Hollywood diecast cars. And thank you to everybody who put in their suggestions. And we'll be getting to that shortly. But in lieu of our usual news and reviews section, I wanted to talk to our guest and our regular host, Mr. David Johns, about Diecast SuperCon, because y'all were just out in Las Vegas. We did our live show from there. And David, I wanted to get your thoughts now that you've had a few weeks to marinate on it. And what was your big takeaway from the event?
Big takeaway, not to kiss up to our special guest, but getting to meet people that you interact with in our community. I have been watching Derek's stuff for years, and have always been a fan of his channel. And just as an example, we didn't bring him on just for this segment, but while he's here, you know, what better time to say it's really cool to shake hands with people that we interact with and we support, and we get to know through videos. And I get to go and hang out with Rob at local shows because he's close by, but I hadn't been able to get to Phoenix like I'd want to. So this is an opportunity where, you know, everybody just gathers, Chuck, and you don't have to make a special trip. We're all making special trips, and you got to take advantage of the opportunity when other people are there in our community.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Derek, how about you?
Well, SuperCon was a lot of fun, and I was so super excited to meet David. Just as David said, we've been friends in this diecast community for a long time, and when I found out that he was going, I was just ecstatic. I was super excited to meet him. We met up. We had a blast. It was good seeing Mark again, catching up with Mark, and exchanging laughs and talking about diecast and geeking out over potential people to come on Diecast Breakdown. So,
that's right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, and if y'all haven't already, and I don't know why you wouldn't be already subscribed to Honest Diecast if you're here, but check out Derek's review of the show. He's got some really great live footage from there, and David has some great stuff on Twice Diecast as well. And speaking of Twice Diecast, Rob, that's a very cool shirt you're wearing over there.
Yep. It's my official Twice Diecast shirt. It's the coolest shirt that I own, so I put it on for the podcast.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those because those are a fairly new addition to the Twice Diecast offering. And you two were hanging out recently, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we met down at the Rocket City Hot Wheelers show in Huntsville, Alabama. I think that's about the same distance between me and David. So, yeah, we did a couple videos. I did a live stream, which is on my channel if you want to check that out and see what these shows actually look like. But yeah, that was a great day.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I am so glad that everybody is here, and we are going to be diving into that Sweet 16 bracket shortly. But first, we're going to get to know our guest, Derek, a little better, because we've talked to Rob some, we've talked to David some, and y'all have heard enough from me. But Derek, you're kind of a fixture in the diecast community. And, you know, a lot of people have seen your videos, and we wanted to kind of dive a little bit below the surface of the content and kind of get to know you a little bit better. So why don't we start at the beginning and talk about how you got into diecast collecting?
Well, I got into diecast collecting thanks to your co-host who's not here, Mr. Mark McHotwheel. So,
okay.
He actually came down to Phoenix It was in 2018, I believe, November of 2018 to be exact. And we went to the store because he wanted to get some snacks, because that's all he does is eat and sleep when he comes down here. So love you, Mark. But yeah, we went to the store, the grocery store, and he was like, I need to go to the toy section. And I was like, okay, you know, well, maybe he needs to pick up a gift, you know, for somebody that he knows, or, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what he was doing. He started flipping through Hot Wheels, and I was like, what is this all about? And he was like, oh, I collect them. And Rob, our mutual friend, got us into it, or got Mark into it. And then Mark did a chain reaction and got me into it. But to make a really long story short, we were flipping through, and I was seeing Skylines, and I was seeing Fair Lady Z's, all kinds of cool stuff. And I was like, wow, these are pretty cool. And when we left there, I had left with my first 30 cars, thanks to Mark. So
yeah, I knew you all were connected. I didn't remember if it was you that got Mark into collecting or the other way around, but it was Mark that that led you down the dark side to the world's most expensive dollar hobby.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, he pushed me to get into Hot Wheels, and you know, we've always had that kind of yin and yang kind of relationship where one of us pushes the other to do something, you know, of course, in a positive nature. And later on down the road, after I got my YouTube channel started, I started bugging him. I was like, you really need to start a channel. People are gonna love you. They're gonna love your personality. They're gonna love everything about you. So just get started. And it took a little while, but he listened, and yeah, it's been history ever since.
I gotta ask, guys, who was the first one to crack one open and customize it out of you and Mark?
That's a good question, but I think it was me. But when he would come down, and we were both fully vested in collecting Hot Wheels, you know, he'd come down, and we would just stay up like for odd hours of the night just watching the Jakarta Diecast, just completely mind blown and at what this guy is doing to, you know, taking a toy truck and just turning it into something absolutely crazy. He was, you know, Yogi was definitely a huge inspiration to both of us getting started and grabbing a drill and drilling our first cars. But I think it was me, and it both took us a while. You know, we're just doing wheel swaps and details, and you know, a little minor paint work here and there, and then just stepping it up as we feel comfortable.
Very cool. And who was the first one to create a YouTube channel?
It was me.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I had to push Mark. No, I'm joking. I didn't have to push it. I didn't have to push him that much, but I was really, really pushing it on him. I was like, you really need to start a channel because, like I said, people are going to love you. They're going to love your personality. So, and eventually he did.
Nice. Josh of Josh's Hot Wheels Addiction says Derek was my inspiration to start customizing. That's very cool.
Oh, thank you, Josh. You're a sweetheart. Thank you.
Yeah. And PJ is saying that he just started his first custom today. So that's very cool.
Shout out to all the mountain bikers out there. PJ, I just came back from a mountain bike race.
Nice.
Yeah. So, well, very cool. And you know, this is a question I always like asking of people who are deeply involved. But what's your favorite aspect of the hobby?
The camaraderie and the friendship, just the friends that you make. I mean, gosh, David, we've been friends for a long time, and I can't remember how many subscribers that we both had when we first started getting in contact with each other, but it was a while ago. And you know, you've always been one of my favorite people in diecast. Just, you know, that smooth, gentle voice, just going over cars that we've never heard of, we've never seen before. Because you know, that's like David's bread and butter, is just bringing the obscure castings into light, and he does such a great job at it.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, but there's so many great people in this community, and everybody has something good to put on the table. So yeah, definitely the friendships and the camaraderie.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it was through David I actually met Rob, and I thought David knew a lot about diecast, and Rob is also a wealth of knowledge. And between the two of them, they put my big toe in the water of diecast knowledge to shame. It's incredible. But so it's very cool to have, you know, people who really love the hobby and know what they're talking about, and like sharing the excitement of it here today. But you know, and in that, where do you see the hobby going? Like, what do you think the future holds for this kind of thing? Because I think it's a hotter hobby now than it's ever been. And it just seems like every year the stakes keep getting higher and higher. And where do you see it going? And what are some of the things that you see that need to improve because of that?
Boy, that's a great question, Chuck. I see this hobby keeping on growing, and unfortunately, since COVID hit, we've had such problems with equal distribution of cards, for people that go out and really hunt, and that given with the amount of people that have gotten into this hobby, like you said, it's just blown up, and it makes it so much harder to find cars. But my general consensus is that a lot of people are out there looking on a daily basis, or a semi-daily basis, are getting really tired of not being able to find anything. Getting beat. They have a local scalper to compete with, and he gets everything, and he's got inside jobs at the stores. Honestly, I think a lot of people are going to start turning to distributors like A&J Toys, J-Car. People are going to start coughing up the money and ponying up the dollars to just buy cases of the stuff just to have it. Unfortunately, that's where I see it going because, like I said, since COVID started, we've just had a really big problem with equal distribution. There's some premium sets I've never seen. I've never found one run and run car. I've never found that last Fast and Furious set, the yellow backed card one, all the cars have black wheels. Never saw that set locally ever. And it gets frustrating, especially for some people that are completists. I don't consider myself a completist anymore, but there's plenty of us there. So that's unfortunately, that's kind of where I see it. I think people are going to, just kind of cut ties with hunting for the most part. They want to save money, rather than throw it in the gas tank, they'll just buy a case online. That's kind of where I see it going.
Yeah. I get that because I have, we were talking before the show, I have a 5-year-old daughter and she goes to pre-K. And so every day I drop her off fairly early in the morning, and I have 3 Walmarts within 10 minutes of that pre-K. So I kind of alternate 3 or 4 days a week. I'll go there. It's not too early in the morning. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And, the distribution is not, like you said, it's not good, and I, to have 3 Walmarts and a Target that close by. And I'm, like you said, I've seen entire sets come and go, and I've never seen anything where, they're picked over really, really quickly. And I started realizing how much time and money I was spending, especially the time aspect. Because, by the time you're out there, you drive 10 minutes out and you look around for 10, 15 minutes and you buy a few and you get back and an hour's gone by. And, and you've got maybe one car that you were looking for, or it was, a consolation car, which is something I need to stop doing, is buying a consolation car. Cause it's like, well, I'm here, I might as well buy one. Yeah. But, trying better to not do that. Although, I've been making myself, as I do those, set them aside for Hot Wheels for Hope. Go to hotwheelsforhope.org and set those aside for donating. And I've already got a decent amount of them going because of my silly impulse buying. That's but and this is a newer question. Something that I love knowing from our guests is, okay, you've met somebody who has been living in a bunker for the last 40 years and has never heard of diecast cars. And you can show them one diecast car to introduce them to the hobby. What's it going to be and why?
Oh boy. Well, I would, for anybody that knows me, I'm a huge Porsche enthusiast. So I would probably show them the car that got it all started for me. As far as collecting Hot Wheels goes. Unfortunately, I don't have one by me, but I'll show you one of my favorites. It's my favorite mainline of 2020 right there.
Oh,
and that's my real life dream car too. Just absolutely beautiful car. I love 991 GT3 RSs. But yeah, maybe I would probably ask them, are you into cars? What kind of cars do you like? And if they say, oh, I like 62 Chevys, 62 Chevy trucks, I'd be like, well, guess what? Hot Wheels makes a ton of different color variations and swings and stuff of the 62 Chevy. Let me show you one real quick, and I'll bring it up on my phone and show it to them and see where it goes. I'm kind of like that bad friend. In that aspect, it's like I get you in trouble with the wife, but I'll tell you anything you need to know about, diecast.
The enabler.
The enabler. Yeah. Perfectly said, David.
And here we all are enabling ourselves through this show, but very cool. Well, thank you so much, Derek, for that. And everybody stick around because we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to get into the Suhweet 16. So stick around.
We'll be back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Here's this week's small channel shout out.
Bunker Diecast Channel.
If you have a favorite Diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com. The Diecast Media Network store is here. Wear your passion with pride, featuring designs from Diecast Breakdown, flying Valiant builds, plus unique designs inspired by diecast culture from Justin Ellis. Visit tpublic.com/Diecast Media Network now.
Hey, this is Champion DJ K, and you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
All right. Well, we are back, and we are going to go right into this now. This is the Suhweet 16 of the best and worst. Well, we're going to do the best diecast cars. And thank you to everybody who chipped in. It was a little tricky because we wanted to have some audience selections, and there was a vast array of opinions on what was the best and worst. So we are just going to pick the ones that I felt kind of best represented a decent spread of the community. So we're going to move over here, and what we're going to do is we are going to argue our cases for our picks, and we're going to have you vote A or B in the chat, live chat. And if you're watching this on a re-record, you can just comment your favorite card just for the posterity's sake. And through all this, we are going to decide once and for all what is the greatest diecast Hollywood car of all time. So first one out of the gate, we got, I believe this is Rob's pick. This is the 007. Oh, no, this was... Whose pick was this? The Aston Martin DB5? Okay, so this was David's pick. So I'm going to show that one really quick. So, David, why is this one of your choices?
All right, guys. I need you guys on board with me. You guys know, and I'm talking to all the listeners now, this is class. This is James Bond. This is being the dude we all want to be, and rocking a suit while he's doing it, and the car has an ejector seat. So I hate whoever I'm going up against in round one on this one, because this is a no-brainer. So let's go ahead and just all move forward under the impression that the DB5 is our winner. That's what I'll say about this one.
Strong words, sir. Strong words.
Confidence.
I feel very good about my choice. It is the Auto World Miho Edition, unrestored, Christine, 1957 Plymouth Fury. It is 58 Fury. And this edition is an absolutely beautiful rendition of the car. It is put out by our friends at Auto World. It is a true 1/64th scale car. And I've got one right here, and I am going to go solo for a second and use my powers of production to take over this one, because I know I'm up against some stiff competition. But look at this. They got the right steel wheels, the bare wheels. They did a beautiful job on the weathering. It has the for sale sign in the window that is accurate to the movie. It has the right license plate on it. Very detailed undercarriage, although there is no weathering on there. But even the tires are kind of grayed out on this thing. They frosted the windows to make them look extra dirty, and just a beautiful execution from start to finish. So that is my choice for round one. So everybody in the comments, vote A if you like the Aston Martin, vote B for Christine.
See what you say, guys. Let the people speak.
We'll let that one go.
We will let democracy rule the day.
Okay, well, while y'all are voting on that, we are going to move right along to, I believe this was Rob's choice, the Aston Martin Vanquish. And we're going to talk to him about why this is the best 1/64 scale Hollywood diecast. Take it away.
Yeah, so Johnny Lightning actually released this one back, I believe, when the movie was new or shortly after, in the correct color. The picture that we've got is a recent release from Johnny Lightning that for some reason they made it a little bit darker. But they made this casting for the movie. And if you look at the base, even it's like not got a typical detailed Johnny Lightning base. It's like this armor plated base that does, it's not reflective of the real car at all, but they just really, went all out with this one for the movie. And this car was so cool in the movie. It had one of my favorite, at least, Bond pieces of technology that has ever been on any of these cars, and of course it's all fake. It's James Bond, right? But it had tiny little cameras and screens all around it so that at the press of a button, the car could turn invisible. And the camera would, pick up an image and it would show it on the other side of the car so that it looked like you were just looking right through it. The car did a bunch of other things. It had, all the typical guns and smoke screens and stuff you would expect. And since Bond was taking it to, I don't know exactly where, somewhere Arctic, very cold, it even had like deployable spikes out of the tires that would help it, have really good traction on the ice and such. So Johnny Lightning did a fantastic job replicating this one, and it's also probably the best Bond car that there ever was. Sorry, David, the DB5, I don't know, it's just kind of old. Gets showed up by the newer one.
Well, we'll see. Strong words from Robert.
All righty. Well, I am going to have a little bit of egg on my face because I didn't have this thing scrolled properly. So
that's all right. We can just change the first medal.
We're just gonna wing it. And it was pretty clear on this one that I lost to the Goldfinger DB5. So now we're gonna do the DB5 versus Brian's R34 Skyline GTR. This was Derek's pick. So Derek, take it away.
Well, the reason why I chose this car was because it's one of the most iconic R34s ever created, especially for us diecast heads, especially for people that love to collect Fast and Furious castings. This is like the bee's knees. Yep. Just a beautiful, simple silver with those blue tampos and those clean chrome Volk T37 six spokes on there. Just a legendary card. That's why I picked it. And I have examples of those as well.
All righty. Good choice. Okay, so this one is going to be comment C for the V12 Vanquish, comment D for the GTR. And we're going to let that go for a little bit, but I'm going to assume that the DB5 was the winner of that one, and whatever the outcome of this one is, we will go with that for the second round. So while we're doing that, we're going to be talking a little bit about some audience choices, and we're going to go over those really quick. Again, vote C for Rob and D for Derek. So while we're going to be voting on that, I wanted to talk about two audience choices. This is the YM model Veilside RX-7 from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. It is a beautiful casting, I must say. It was one I was not aware of. I was not aware that YM Models was doing these cars, and that's probably because I didn't know who YM Model was. I'm sure David did, but it's a very nice rendition, very accurate. There are a lot of Fast and Furious castings out there that do not do a very good job. I know, Rob, you had mentioned a particularly heinous version of the Mitsubishi Eclipse from the first movie. But that was choice number one from the audience, and choice number two was BJ and the Bears Thunder Roller from Hollywood Diecast, or Hot Wheels Hollywood Diecast series. So those are the choices that we will be talking about and voting on shortly. In the meantime, I am going to go over to the chat and count things up. So y'all talk amongst yourselves about which one of those two you agree with and make your cases for that while I tally up the votes.
What's the Derek? What's the story, or Rob, if you know the movie? I just know Derek does. What's the story on that veil side? What movie was that in? What was the significance of that car in the movie?
Rob, did you want to answer?
Good
Good old Hans
RX-7. One of the
RX-7.
main characters, but Tokyo Drift. Oh, it's been so long since I've actually seen it. Derek, if you actually know, you could probably talk about it a little better.
Well, to put it in a nutshell, it's Hans RX-7. That's what everybody knows.
That's
it
right.
as. Yep. That's really the only thing I know about it. I don't know any history on the actual real life car, but a lot of people love it. And for those people out there that like to collect larger scale, like Jada makes a really nice example of that car as well.
So we're pushing the envelope of the demographic who would even know the BJ and the Bear Thunder Roller, but I can really appreciate how cool that thing is.
Yeah.
That's a pretty gnarly looking truck.
Guys, it is in the R34 spanked.
Ouch.
The James Bond Vanquish. So James Bond will have to die another day.
Just kidding.
When it comes to that one. So, but he does move on with the DB5. So everybody vote E for the Veil side, vote F for the BJ and the Bear Thunder Roller. I have very little doubt in my mind which one is going to win this one, but we do have to ask you vote. So that is E for the Veil side and F for Thunder Roller. All right. Coming up next, we got Rob again with the 1967 Mustang, also from the Fast and the Furious series, also from the Tokyo Drift series. So, Rob, let's take that away.
All right. So this one I did a little bit of research on, and I'm actually ready to talk about. So, I don't remember the characters' names. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but this car is very important in the Tokyo Drift movie. Basically, a kid gets sent to Japan to live with his dad after he gets in trouble for street racing in the United States. And his dad has this Mustang just all torn up and waiting for restoration or whatever in a garage in Japan. And so, they come to a point where they need to put a car together, and they've got a wrecked, I think it's a Nissan Silvia with an RB26 motor, the famous Nissan inline 6, but the car's wrecked, the engine's good. And they've got this old Mustang sitting around where I don't think it had an engine in it at all, but the chassis was good and it was kind of ready to go. So they actually put this Nissan motor into the 67 Mustang. There's lots of scenes of them tuning the car and testing it out and just working on it as they get it ready to go. And by the time of the, final race, it's painted in this beautiful green with the 2 white stripes. It's got a nice set of wheels on it, and it's just a very interesting vehicle from just a custom standpoint of it's almost sacrilegious to put that motor in this car. So
right.
There's a lot of custom cars in Fast and Furious. I don't remember. I'm not a huge Fast and Furious fan. Certainly not an encyclopedia of knowledge on all the different cars, but to my knowledge, there is not another one that has, quite a unique mechanical change to it. So yeah, this is just a really cool one. And Hot Wheels, they haven't done a premium version of this car, I don't think, but they've done a couple of basics with a couple of different wheels, and they always give it the white stripes that it should have, and the green is spot on, and they always do a really good job with kind of the price point that they make it at.
Awesome. Well, before we get to Derek's choice to go up against this Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift Mustang, I've got to come in with some breaking news. Unexpectedly, the BJ and the Bear Thunder Roller has spanked the Veil side. I am as shocked as you are.
Like that it's hope for all us old guys.
So I think says a bit about our demographic. But thank you all for joining us before the early bird special.
Wasn't there a monkey? Wasn't there a monkey in that show?
There was actually no bear in BJ and the Bear. But all right. Well, Robin's made his case for the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Derek, you've got another Fast and Furious car, the yellow Honda Civic. So let's talk about that.
Yes, I decided to pick the EG, not for any specific reason whatsoever, but solely for the love of Hondas. That's what sparked my automotive obsession, was getting started building, racing, and modifying Hondas. So I had to show some love to the Civic EG. It's a perfect example. A lot of people who are familiar with Hondas and the history of Hondas would probably say that this is very reminiscent to the Spoon EG6. And it's just a beautiful car. And let's put it down for Honda. Let's go, baby.
All right. Very cool.
We'll see. Let the people decide, guys.
All right, people,
tough
we
one.
are going to be voting a G for the 67 Ford Mustang from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and an H for the Honda from the Fast and Furious Tuner series for Hot Wheels. So please put those in the live chat now. And I am going to take things away on the next one, which was my pick. And our good friend Diecast Dude agrees with me on this pick. And that is the Greenlight 1983 Vandura. And that is the GMC van from the A-Team. It is a lovely weathered car. I thought I had an example on here, but it would appear it did not make it on. So bummer for me.
I think you're disqualified, and my pick
Oh
wins.
no. Oh no. But you know, say what you will about Greenlight. I know that there are some people who like Greenlight. I know that there are some people who have very conflicting feelings about their consistency and quality. And I get that, but when they do connect, and they do connect frequently, they do a very good job. And boom, there it is.
Oh,
this is the 1/64 scale version of the van. They do several different scales, and each one of them is beautiful in its own way. I got to give it up to Greenlight in their Hollywood series. I think Auto World could top them if they had more variety, but I think Auto World has been focused more on normal mass market cars as opposed to Hollywood cars. So when they did do the Christine, it was incredible. They've got several different versions of that one, but that one's disqualified, so we're not talking about that one anymore. So anyway,
look at those wheels. Wow.
But yeah, they got everything right on this, even down to the pipes on the bottom of the car. And you know, I have a version of it right here that look at the detail on the exhaust. That wasn't just stock exhaust. They put a custom exhaust on it. My version has bullet holes in it, has a lovely fade to it, has some nice weathering to it. They've got several different weathered versions of it, but Diecast Dude is seldom wrong, and I agree with him. When he picked this one, it was also one of my choices as well. So that is my choice for this next bracket. So we are going to I tally up the votes from the last one. We are going to see who I'm up against, and that would be David once again. So, David, tell me why I am the wrongest person that ever wronged.
Well, you know, guys, Rob, Derek, this should have been a semifinal or final battle. These are two heavyweights. I know I'm up against it. The A-Team van is one of the top three most iconic vehicles out there. But look at what Hot Wheels did on this 308 GTS from Magnum. We all know Magnum. We all, again, maybe I live through all these characters like Mr. Bond and Magnum. But look at that car, guys. They've got the tan interior. They've got the wheels right. Proportions look right. It just looks exactly like that car. And I know as a kid, I may not have understood what was going on with Magnum because I was a little bit young to get the storyline, but I knew that car was freaking awesome. So I'll leave it in y'all's hands. You guys, hopefully the old guys will be with me on the Ferrari, because Hot Wheels nailed it. And that's, I don't say that all the time, if we're honest, but this one looks really, really good.
Perfect example.
Yep. Hard to argue with that, although I would say that the premium aspect of Greenlight is still a little better than Hot Wheels premium, but we will see what the people have decided. Please vote I for the A-Team van and J for the Magnum PI Ferrari. And with that in mind, the 67 Mustang from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift has captured the hearts and minds of our guests, our audience by a long shot. So the 67 Mustang has moved on. Now, as you all are voting for the I for Greenlight 18 van and J for the I for the 18 van and J for the Magnum PI Ferrari. I don't know why it's spelled that way.
Sabotage. I think.
Sabotaged. We're going to move on to Derek's third pick, the Porsche Cayman GT4 from Fast and Furious. So, Derek, take it away.
Well, this probably doesn't surprise anybody, but I had to pick a Porsche of some sort. And once again, it is a Fast and Furious branded car. It is going to be the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4. The reason why I picked this one is because I love Porsche. And while I'm typically not a Cayman guy, they did so well on this Cayman GT4 casting. For those of you that don't know, the 718 Cayman GT4 does have the same engine as the 992 GT3. So super excited for this casting. I think they nailed it. They did a great job. Just a great way to break out a brand new casting. So this is the one that I picked.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, that thing is it's beautiful.
Yeah. All righty. Well, I am going to be competing against that with my pick, which is the Hot Wheels Back to the Future 48 Ford, complete with fertilizer accompaniments. It is, I think, the closest we will ever get to a literal turd on wheels from a major diecast provider. And again, a beautiful rendition. There's no faulting this casting at all. They did a great job. They got the license plate right. The manure is removable, by the way, in case you were curious. It is not actually part of the car. So you can display it with or without the fertilizer addition. And again, just really well done. They got a very nice satin finish on this. It's not quite matte. It's not quite gloss. It is a beautiful satin finish on it. Wide white wall tires. Again, they absolutely nailed this one. And it is with much chagrin that I must again concede defeat to David. The Magnum Ferrari spanked the A-Team van. So we are going to put Magnum in that spot. All right. So vote K for the Porsche Cayman and L for the Back to the Future 48 Ford in live chat. So, all right, this is fun. It's really kicking in. I would like to win one of these. All right. Well, the live audience is voting, and you guys are tearing it up right now. 45 people. That is, I think, a record for us. So we're getting that nice, honest diecast bump. All right. Well, we are going to go once again to Rob with a very interesting choice: the Toy Story RC car. So, Rob, tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just looking through my collection, trying to figure out a third car to choose here, and Hot Wheels just did such a good job with this thing that I couldn't not pick it. Now this car, if you've seen the original Toy Story movie, I don't think that it played a major role. It didn't even really have a name. If everything that I looked at just said its name was RC. Right. But just look at the effort that Hot Wheels put into this thing here. Now it doesn't have off-road tires. I think when this came out, they didn't really have a premium off-road wheel like they do now. But other than that, it's got all this detail going on with it. Look at the eyes. It's got a bunch of different pieces, like that antenna there is a separate piece of soft plastic. It's even got that little bit of red paint on the top. The tampo on the green body looks absolutely phenomenal. And then there's even a separate red piece of plastic on the back there for the rear suspension, and a separate piece of blue plastic for the bumper. The base is actually separate from both of those pieces. The base is painted blue, at least on my release. I think they did 2 or 3 of these. So yeah, they really went all out on this casting. And one of the other things that makes that pretty crazy is that, Disney is not going to just license this for any sort of design. They basically have one thing they could do with it, and still, they put all this work into it. So it is, on its own, I'd say it's a fun little design for a car, especially in a children's cartoon, and Toy Story I mean, I don't mean to kind of take away from it. It is a classic movie, and it's quite good for what it is. But yeah, just a really cool design, and Hot Wheels just did a phenomenal execution on it. So seemed like a good one to pick.
Well, it would seem that I am not mainstream enough for this crowd. Once again, I have fallen to the Porsche Cayman. So congratulations, Derek, on that one. It was a lot closer this time, so I did get closer. But the show must go on. And with the Toy Story, we have another audience pick. And I thought this was a good one. This is the Corgi Jr.'s Buick. This is really one of the early examples of a Hollywood diecast. This is from, of course, Kojak. He had a gold Buick. It did vary from year to year, but this was a pretty decent representation of the car at the time. I think it's interesting because it's got that Corgi Jr. thing where they actually have the door panels extrude out rather than in, which is an interesting thing to do with body lines. But I get that was they were not doing these on computers back in the day. So it's an interesting choice, an iconic piece of diecast, I think, as much as it is an iconic piece of TV history. So we will be voting an M for RC, the Toy Story, and an N for the Kojak classic diecast from Corgi Juniors. So y'all do that. And while y'all are voting, we are going to go over again to Mr. David Johns for another iconic Hot Wheels / Hollywood special. David?
All right. Going back to my my adolescence, a movie that was really cool to me. And you guys remember this car. This was Cameron's dad in the movie. Had this thing. It had, I think, 200 and something miles, or 200 and something and 3/4 miles on the odometer. His pride and joy, Ferris and his two buddies took it out for the day off. Had a really cool, fun scene where the valet was flying through the air, ramping it and going to town, and just such a cool car. And it actually was done really well. I like the wheel choice by Hot Wheels. This is a not often seen car in diecast, so we don't get a whole lot of 250 Californias. It's just really well done. It's got a little value. If you want to find one, you might have to plunk down a few nickels to get it. So that's what I'm going to say on this one.
All righty. Pete, thank you for keeping me honest there. He thinks that I miscounted. If y'all want to go back and double check that one, you're welcome to it. The last one, I'm pretty sure that that the Porsche won, but I could be wrong there. So if somebody wants to go back and give me an honest count, that would be great. We'll move forward though as the Cayman one, but all right, so that is the Ferris Bueller Ferrari. I will be arguing on behalf of the audience for the MacGyver 86 Wagoneer. And I'm not a very good choice for this because I watched MacGyver some. I do not recall a Jeep Cherokee Wagoneer being particularly a regular part of the show. I might be wrong there. So please feel free to correct me, fellow co-hosts, if I missed that.
I got nothing.
I think that Greenlight just does a bunch of possibly background vehicles or vehicles that characters drove.
I have noticed that as well.
Yeah. They've got X-Files and
the Starsky and Hutch one is funny. It's like, here's a red truck. It's like, okay, I guess there was a red Ford truck at some point in the show. But yeah, I get that with some of them, and you know what? I don't complain. I'm not a completionist either, but I will say.
That's what you got to focus on.
I will say the card art is stunning on this one. I will also say this is a very nice rendition of the Wagoneer. It's got the proper grille with the quad headlights. You could only get the XJ body in with quad headlights in the Wagoneer trim, which was the ultra premium luxury version of this particular era of Jeep. And as someone who has owned this particular era of Jeep, I can say that was not saying much, because my Comanche definitely rattled and clanked and let every sound through. It was a very, very efficiently made vehicle, or economically made vehicle. At highway speeds, you could watch the wind ripple the hood on that thing. So that would be an O for the Ferris Bueller Ferrari and a P for MacGyver. And guys, I noticed that the Corgi Jr., the vintage crowd has won yet again, and the Corgi Jr.'s Kojak Buick is moving on. So congratulations to the audience on that one. But
I think that's a surprise. I think that's a Cinderella.
I was surprised by that one too. So O and P now for the Ferris Bueller's Ferrari O, and for the Wagoneer P. So
I like what I'm seeing in the chat, guys.
I do
feeling
too.
good.
Sorry, audience, on that one. But we are going to go back up to the top. We are now talking about the DB5 versus the R34. So we are going to be counting those down. Gentlemen, you've already made your arguments, so we're going to move straight to voting on this one. I want people to chat a 1 for the DB5 and a 2 for the R34. So
you know what to do.
You know what to do. And we are going to be looking in the chat, and what do I see? I see a lot of
ejector seat.
Yeah,
ejectocito,
cuz. All right. Well, I think it's pretty clear to me that the winner of that one was the Ferris Bueller Ferrari.
Okay.
So well, everybody is voting the number 1 and number 2 here.
Well, this is a hotly contested one.
Yeah. So, all righty.
Look at all these deuces in the chat. Come on, guys.
I know,
We're
right?
talking about James effing Bond.
It started with a bunch of 1s. Where'd they go? Vote 1 if you like
know.
that Aston Martin.
All righty.
Come on, guys. JDM has to put it down for 1. JDM has to be in for 1 slot.
Listen,
come on.
All kidding aside, guys, that's the first movie I ever saw a Skyline. Like, these movies have been so good for me to learn about these cars. That is a cool car, man. This is a tough battle because I think you guys can hear where I'm coming from on my love for the Bond vehicles. But I really appreciate getting to know all these awesome cars from Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and it looks like the R34 was I'm seeing a lot of number 2s were the ones that were
two was
the
R34.
one. So yes, so the R34 does move on. So congratulations on the R34 moving on. All right, we are now down to the BJ and the Bear and the 67 Ford Mustang. So a 3 for BJ and the Bear and a 4 for the Ford Mustang. Remember, do not put any added weight behind the decision that a co-host placed it, because the audience did also pick the BJ and the Bear. So that is a 3 for the BJ and the Bear and a 4 for the Mustang.
Man, that Mustang is so cool. What was it, Rob? Like 1,000 horsepower?
Oh, I don't know that they ever talked about that much in the movie, but yeah, I think they can get that out of those motors. They show them putting a big turbo on it in the movie and all that, so could be close to that for sure.
All right, well, that one is not even close. The Mustang clinches it. So sorry, BJ, you and the Bear are going back to the rest stop, and the 67 Mustang moves on. All right. That means that our next one, it comes down to the Magnum versus the Cayman. So that is a 5 for Magnum's Ferrari and a 6 for the Cayman. So
hey, cut Derek's live feed. Cut his camera. I got
Hulu. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't use visual aids.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at all.
Yeah. I will say, while we're waiting for folks to come in, I did have some honorable mentions. One of them is this beautiful Corgi Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is a kind of obscure car, and it does have folding in wings. The wings fold in, and the front tabs do come off if you want to display it as a regular vehicle. So that is an honorable mention that I had. So let's see. I'm seeing a lot of 5s in the chat, a whole lot of 5s.
Andrew,
I'm seeing some 6s too.
Andrew from Maple Leaf Customs, how could you? That's all I'm going to say.
I'm pretty sure he's contractually obligated to vote for the Porsche. So,
yeah,
That is true.
He's in.
So I am going to give this one to the Cayman. Sorry there, David. We are moving on.
That Ferrari 308 Hot
Wait, I
Wheels
thought the
casting. It's
Ferrari.
one of
I
their
thought the
best.
Ferrari's 5.
I'm a little.
Right?
Oh, right. Sorry. The Ferrari was 5?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Pretty sure.
Right.
Ferrari's 5.
Sorry.
Cayman 6.
Ferrari is 5, Cayman is 6. You are correct. All right, Magnum.
Oh, so
that's
close.
okay. Yes. Well, to be fair, I don't think that the Cayman was a particularly iconic part of the Fast franchise, but it is a cool car. So, all right. Well, that brings us down.
And it came with a mustache. I mean, come on.
Yes, it did.
It's a no-brainer.
Mustache adds 5 votes. All right. We got it down to Kojak and Ferris now. So we're going to do 7 for Kojak and 8 for Ferris. So, and yes, we do want to add a straw poll to this. I did not see a good solution to having that and having it be streaming. I'm a little, I know YouTube's a little funny about putting links in chats. So I was worried it would raise some trouble. So we're doing this for now. I think for future reference, we might have a predetermined option out there. There was one that we could do with StreamYard, but it was kind of expensive, and I wasn't going to do it for just one thing. Another shout out, another honorable mention. This is the Greenlight Blues Brothers Bluesmobile.
Absolutely.
It is a very cool casting. They have it with and without the loudspeaker on top. I will ding it for the reason it didn't get the choice is because it has a black interior, and I have no idea why they thought that. Like, they got little details like the fact that it's missing the back windshield, which by the time they got a loudspeaker, it had been shot out by the good old boys. So that is a surprisingly accurate little bit of business to add, but then to drop the ball on the interior not being tan, I'm not sure what happened there. So all right,
Rob gave me that set first gift he ever gave me. Thank you, Rob. I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah, yeah, I did send you one of those.
Blues Brothers.
Hey, Chuck,
all right.
Chuck, I got 2 honorable mentions as well. I can go over
Sure.
at least one right now.
Yeah, well, I will be tallying these up while you do that.
This one came very close to actually getting on the list.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is a
absolutely
good choice.
Mm-hmm.
It came.
I'm
super
so glad
close
it came back.
Yeah,
Glad they're
super
re-releasing
close
it.
to getting on the list. One of the most beautiful, well done trucks I've ever seen. Tampos are on point. Everything is so nice about this. But I had to go with more castings that I prefer to collect. That's just, kind of how it's got to be with me.
Derek, you'll see that one. You'll see that truck in a news segment on the next Diecast Breakdown episode. Big news about a little bit more accurate casting on that truck coming out from another brand.
We will have to save that for the next episode, and we are going to save Ferris as the Ferris Ferrari moves on. So it's going to be a battle of Ferraris when we come back to that one. But we are back at the semifinals. We're going to go back up top with the R34 and the 67 Mustang. So it has come down to 2 Fast and Furiouses versus 2 Ferraris. So we're going to do we're going to go back to A because the comments have cleared themselves. So A for Aston Martin, A for the R34, sorry, and B for the 67 Mustang. We've got visual aids going crazy here on the live stream. People are shoving diecasts in other people's faces. We did also ask a few people to chime in with their least favorite diecasts out there when it comes to Hollywood representation. I kind of led the charge on this with a Corgi series that was, or not a Corgi series, it was an Ertl series from Cannonball Run, where they did a lot of terrible things, like this Ford van when it was a orange Dodge van that was used in the movie. They also had to put Cannonball Run on there in case you forgot what it was from. And in this case, it needed it because the only thing that this has in common with the others is this Transcon Medvac on the side. Every single car in that series is incorrect. The Cannonball Run Hawaiian Tropic car, this is a Chevy Caprice, is a 2-door Caprice, not the cars that were used in the movie, which was a Laguna, and they
Fantastic.
did a Pontiac. Yeah, it was a huge mess. And honorable mention to the Matchbox Star Cars, which was another terrible series from 1998. This was their pick for the Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
was
terrible.
a 80s Mercury Sable that is not only the wrong car, the wrong decade, the wrong make. Fun fact, everybody falsely remembers that there was a wood grain station wagon on the show. It was never wood grain, it was gold.
It looks like they mixed it up with the family truckster.
Yeah, the family
exactly.
truckster.
Yeah, like this one, it's like somebody said, "Hey, didn't the Brady Bunch have like a station wagon?" And they were like, "We have a station wagon." And there were a few other bad ones in there. Laverne and Shirley had a British panel van. I think it was a Holden panel van, which of course is not the right country. That car was never available for sale in the United States. So, all right, well, we are going back through and it's getting closer. So y'all talk amongst yourselves for a second while I chart this one up real quick.
You know, you can't lose on this battle, guys. Like either one is a banger.
And both are RB26 DETT powered.
Whatever.
That's a good point. They're
Whatever
basically
he
the
just
same
said.
car, right?
Yeah.
So which one did any of them make an appearance in more than one movie?
I don't think the Mustang has. Probably not the Skyline either.
All right.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
in.
so.
R34 takes it.
Skyline for the win.
The luck of the first appearance is on Derek's side for this one.
That had to have been close though, Chuck.
It was pretty close.
I was looking
close.
at the chat and it was A B A B A B
Yeah.
A B all the
Well,
way down.
it broke pretty hard for A towards the end there. All right, so now it is the battle of the Ferraris. We've got Magnum versus Ferris. So vote C for Magnum and D for Ferris. Take it away, all y'all in the chat. One of the diecasts that I really like, and then this is to go back and praise Matchbox after I said such terrible things about them, is the Matchbox Ford Explorers. They did two versions of them. Number 4, which I'm holding here, is made to look mangled like it was in the movie. After the T-Rex got a hold of it. And I thought this was very cool for a very simple reason. First of all, it's very rare that a diecast company will release damaged cars or versions of the car that are damaged. On top of this being a unique casting. And it's still a licensed Ford Explorer product, which is incredibly rare. Because most of the time, diecasts or car manufacturers don't like the idea of their cars being shown wrecked. So to get them to sign off on not only using the Explorer for Explorer number 5, which wasn't attacked, but Explorer 4, which was, and to allow them to display it as a fully damaged casting is a very interesting choice indeed. So
it's just an acknowledgement maybe from Ford that movie was that iconic, and particularly that scene.
And fun fact, those Explorers were designed by former guest of the show, Fireball Tim Lawrence. So
wow,
this little car actually has a diecast breakdown connection. All right, I'm counting them up. You guys keep the talk going while I count these up.
So hey, speaking of bad movie diecast, and we got a lot of Fast and Furious. I'll show this really quick. So Revell, back when the Fast and Furious movies were brand new, had a series of cars from the first movie. And they did a few just like the Corgi Cannonball Run cars where they had these castings and they just slapped some Fast and Furious things on them. So here you've got Brian's Eclipse. It's the wrong body kit, the wrong wheels, the wrong spoiler. The weird thing about this one, it's actually a pretty high quality piece of diecast and it looks very nice. It's just wrong. And then the other real notable one from that was they did the Racer's Edge delivery truck. They didn't do it as a single cab F-150 Lightning. They did it as a regular F-150 extended cab. It was red at least, but completely wrong model of F-150, wrong body style. It wasn't even flare side. So Corgi is not alone in doing some poor Hollywood diecast like that. So.
All right, so it has come to this. It is JDM versus the Mustache, as David managed to beat himself
Hey,
to take the. I'll just gonna let that one go. But so this is
Moving
coming
on.
down to the final choices. The R34 from Fast and the Furious, Brian's iconic silver and blue R34 versus the only thing more distracting than the short shorts on Tom Selleck, the Magnum PI Ferrari 308. So we'll vote 1 for the R34 and 2 for Magnum as we get down to this final decision. Another car that I wanted to point out real quick, another green light that I really like. This was from The Walking Dead. This is a 67 Mustang. It's a very interesting Mustang. It's from season 1. It says on the hood, on the windshield, "Sophia, stay here. We will come every day." And it came with a little box of supplies that you could put on the hood, this was from a very sad scene early on in the show where a little girl went missing from the group, and they left this in a abandoned freeway. There just happened to be a 67 Mustang sitting there, which I was like, okay, that's an odd car to just be sitting out there. But it's kind of become so much a part of the show that for Halloween Horror Nights, they recreate that car and that scene at the Walking Dead display, even though that was from a season that took place, I believe, 11 seasons ago. It's been a really long time since that one happened. So, all right, I'm going to be taking a look in here. So y'all got any more honorable mentions before we hang things up?
We did have some viewers. We had multiple viewers submit Homer's pink sedan from The Simpsons as Hot Wheels didn't do the worst job on their main line when they put it out. And I mean, how many of us have grown up watching that show? What is that? 30 years now, longest running animated show ever. We've all seen The Simpsons.
I'll also throw out, speaking of cartoons, Tomica has done a number of decent initial D cars, including the Panda 86 Trueno. So, that didn't get picked today, but those are out there, and they're very popular with a certain group of collectors as well. I think we're all waiting on the day that Hot Wheels releases one en masse. I think that they actually have one that was very limited, but not one that you could get in a regular premium line or anything yet.
Brady Davidson watching the show right now says, shout out for the original TV show Batmobile. And I did want to mention, we talked about Fireball Tim Lawrence earlier. Guys, we've had on this show the guy who came up with the original Michael Keaton Batman, 1989, the really cool one with the big vortex on the front and the wild fins on the back. We actually got to sit down with the guy that designed that car. You might want to go back and check out that episode. That was really cool.
Nice. And while we're counting up still, I have one more honorable mention that almost made it onto my list for this. And it's controversial as well, because some people like it. A lot of people don't like it. But I was actually contemplating putting this up. I think it's a nice tribute to Super, but so many people hate this car. I don't think it would have been.
Because they didn't have the Toyota rights at the time, so they couldn't do the Supra.
Why would anybody not like that car? What could possibly be wrong with it?
Right?
So well, Derek, you think that would have been a one and done early exit from the tournament?
Well, yeah, I think that would have. Wow, I've got a lot of thoughts on that as well. I love the callousness of it, that we're just gonna throw this completely different car out there that is not only a different car, but it is a car that was used later in the movie, in a different movie. So I think it's an interesting choice from Hot Wheels. And but speaking of interesting choices, it looks like by one vote the R34 edged it out.
What? No way.
So we might have to demand a recount, but
I demand a recount.
I'm going to say, as it sits now, it was by one vote. The R34 takes it as the greatest Hollywood diecast car of all time. And I think that's an interesting take, and it's something that I think is reflective of this hobby, and that is that no matter what anybody else says, it comes down to what you choose as the best.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the car that won this go around. It could have been a different car. Again, a lot of people are pointing out their favorite diecast cars in the chat. Charles Isaac says
Pete's
that
got
he
one.
likes the Yellowstone 78 truck. Yes, the General Lee was considered for me. I do really like the Johnny Lightning version of that car.
This is a custom.
Yeah, I have the Johnny Lightning one, which is actually kind of tricky to find now. Because I think it was the last 164 version to have the old Rebel flag on it. I have several of these, which are also Johnny Lightnings. These are from the Barn Find series. I did have this here as an honorable mention, just because I think it's really fun that they did a General Lee without doing a General Lee, and it is weathered, and that is kind of my thing. So I thought it was a really cool way to bring back some nostalgia for the show and do a cool weathered series as well. I'm not going to get into the politics of that show. I will say that it was a beloved part of my childhood, and leave it at that. I did also want to. Oh, go ahead,
Chuck. And speaking of weather, really nice weathered pieces. Check this out. You might know the guy who made this one.
Oh wow, look at that. So that's right, number 12
go.
ended.
Really nice weather.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, we're
I
getting
should
a
have
weird
been in
echo.
the tournament. It would have taken it away.
So that's right, number 12 ended. Yep. All right. Well, somebody has got an echo going on here. That's the joy of live TV.
Good night.
All right,
Guys,
there we
think
go. Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna do the green light one more time. The Family Truckster. I know that they did this because they were bringing on the big old Ford and Mercury station wagons into their offering, but I appreciate that this is not a callous crash grab. They went and did this is a unique casting. It's got the right weird rear windows and the double stacked headlights and the double stacked tail lights on the back. There were several different versions of this with or without the deceased granny on top, spoiler alert, and I believe there was one without the luggage on it at all. But I liked this one because this is from midway through the movie when the hubcaps have been stolen off of it, and it does say honky lips on the side, as an enterprising young man did paint on the side of the car while they were asking for directions in that very fun scene. So,
St. Louis.
Yep, gotta love it. Well, that is it for this show, and it went just about perfectly to an hour. Thank you all for sticking with us as we went a little long this show. But and again,
that was fun.
It was fun. And thank you everybody from Honest Diecast that came over and visited, and from Scale Enthusiasm that saw, and Twice Diecast. So I want to thank all of the special guests. If you get a chance, hit the little thumbs up and do the little subscribe thing if you can. It really helps us out. If you really want to help us out, you can go leave a 5-star review on our audio podcast at Apple Podcasts, or you can visit diecastbreakdown.com to learn how you can put your money where your mouth is when it comes to this show and get special shout outs on some of the episodes. So check that out. Again, I want to thank Derek of Honest Diecast for joining us today. An absolute pleasure, sir. We look forward to having you back again soon. And I want to thank Rob of Scale Enthusiasm for being our pitch hitter co-host. Mark sends his regrets. He really wanted to be here today, but he has got a family obligation. And when we started this show, the rule was simple, and that was family first, and we do the rest later. You all have been great with working with us as we've had to take breaks for family stuff, and we've had to take steps back and steps forward, and we're really excited that we're back to posting weekly again. And it's folks like you that keep us going. So please keep that going. Share the show if you get a chance, and of course check out my wonderful co-hosts channels, and they will be linked in the description below, and I'm sure you already know who they are if you're here. So as always, I want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.